Hello and welcome to the show. It is I, Tradespotting, in a different kind of shade. So the biggest risk in trading comes from not knowing what you're doing, which is great that you're here. You can probably update yourself a little bit on what you're doing. In it, boom, look at that. Don't know why that's full already, but still, I'm not going to argue. Right, so go away, you broke already. Don't be silly. So this is what we're looking at to start off with. EVGO's, couple of trades on the go here. Price action broke this 200 period moving average. Should it come back and test it? You know, that would be perfectly acceptable for a still positive situation. If it was to go beyond it, I think you would probably want to be out of that trade. It quite possibly could be tested because there's a 50 simple approaching the 200 here. And if this is going to break out, if it doesn't break this prior high, EVGO, if it doesn't break the high at 470, that sort of level, it probably will come down and test this area, which could give you a very tight entry right next to a stop. That's one potential trade that I'm talking about. You hear me talking about it. There's also the idea of this holding now on this strong move to the top side, this retracement, hold this tight level at 450 today, could potentially go further, already up 17%. And if it did, you know, the target on this might be 604. If you're waiting for the retracement down here and the most sensible version of this trade, this is in the past, if you're looking for the most sensible version of this trade, which is entering in around 420, then you might also be looking at a reasonable or sensible take profit in around 532. The next target would be 560. The next one, 6.0405, that sort of area, right? This is what we're looking at moving to the top side, and you could justify that trade with your first take profit target and the most sensible stop loss with a 3.3 to 1 risk reward ratio on EVGO. So this is three potential trades, two that are drawn on, one that I've described, and you can see how this would also give you, you know, the opportunity to take a deeper entry up to that 200 period moving average. Beyond that, I'm not so interested. Where did I start it at? Jeez, now it's disappeared. Anyway, there's 236 dropping back down. Alternative, like you can do this other fib from the most recent low to the high here. This is 236, and that sort of area would be your entry. Potentially, if you're looking for it, jump in as soon as possible, but not right now on this move. So there's the three setups. You know, set it out differently if you wanted with a slightly deeper entry. That's the EVGO trade that's on the go at the minute. OTLY 268. This made the target, right? This was a particularly fantastic trade to set up from Sploshing. A lot of people got different perspective on it, but strongly trending move on the 30-minute time frame. It always persisted above the 50 simple period moving average, which is proxy for a very strong trend there. When you exceeded the 886 after this retracement no further than a golden pocket, it did suggest it could go onto the 1.13, if not the prior high. Then, if not 1.13, then the prior high did more than both. So up to our target, close this trade. Perhaps you're looking to close it. I very much got to my take profit targets there. Part of the reason that we were looking at OTLY was because also the BYND Meat situation here with this bullish low here, bullishly divergent, price action exceeding the golden pocket. A strong move there. A lot of people did well out of BYND Meat. Congratulations, millionaire makers, making the millionaires. And what else are we going to look to? A couple of things. Jackie pointed out to me one thing that might make an interesting trade. I'll do it here. 30-minute time frame. If this thing does manage to break back above this 173 target here, prior high on this move, it might present a fantastic opportunity with a big, strong percentage move to the top side. But in the meantime, I'd be pointing that out. You know, that's the 30-minute previous high there. Go to the hourly time frame. You see this is still resistant, so it hasn't broken the range and therefore hasn't changed trend. There's the 2-hour high, still resistant. See that, Jackie and everybody else? Here's the 4-hour resistance, still not broken. Obviously, you know, it's not going to. We've seen the other trends. You're back now above this 200 period moving average, 50 simple approaching it. That could well lead to a test in around 126, and you'd be losing a big chunk of price action if that were to happen. First sign that you get that might not be happening is if it breaks above 174. At that stage, you're looking for 237 and then 283. If this thing makes a proper recovery, then you could be seeing huge moves back up again. It's just very, very sketchy, to put it lightly. 236 and 126 again. That's that test that we were talking about coming down to test the golden pocket. Would also be confluent with a retest of 236, which might be where you'd expect to get if you can't break a 382, and that's this high in around $2.39. So while it could make a big move up there, this would be the place to look to move from. That's also where risk would change. It likely does come back down, test that 236 and test cross. Very, very possible, right? If it doesn't break that high, likely. So that's what we're looking at, RGS. And, if it does provide you with a good opportunity here, Jackie, this is something to look to. Depending on how this trade evolves, it could go one way or the other. Nothing comes from nothing, so you factor that into your trading and do something, typically, right? Though not all the time. Sitting on your hands is a good way to make money overall if you trade too often, for sure. Anyway, getting distracted for the message today. Get into this, and you might be looking at this, come down, testing that. You could afford a particularly tight stop because of the nature of this technical artifact and opportunities it provides you. Should you break down, then you could be looking at it here from that prior high before this move itself, which is bearishly divergent on this time frame. It's daily at the moment, so should it push higher, I expect it to be daily, at least class B, until such times as it breaks free of that, at which point you'd be able to see, this is how you'd measure this trade, and potentially, this is the sort of thing that you'd be looking at a short position if the golden cross fails, and then you'd be looking at price action clearly resting below both of these moving averages. As such, you'd be looking for a move down, and a stop back at that area would seem like a sensible situation, right? So that's very possible, but that trade, you'd have to be managing it with stop loss and only taking it after it performs a successful confirmation of how that golden cross would only be the entry, not beforehand. And because you could quite easily get price action come down, test the cross, come up again, and at that stage fail, right? And then come back down. You might get the trade after a failure at that nature of it if you don't get the immediate information on the test of this horizontal in the 1.26 should it come down at all, right? Of course, it could just go on. And also what I'd say is if it does manage to break above this horizontal, and in particular this prior high, I'd pay a lot of attention to how the RSI performs, and if it goes into overbought. If it does, this thing will very much exceed that target at 172 or 170, so where it's pushing towards at the minute, it'll go above that, it'll hit 220 and test this prior high and the 382, 222, that sort of area. So it could well be that if you break this level, you don't get that squiggle down here, and alternatively, just imagine this is, well, I'll just draw over here instead. It just breaks that level to test this area where risk again changes. So however it responds on a test of what would likely be support at that same area, 170 afterwards, might inform future trades. But from this perspective and from what's happened at the minute, it's a downward sloping trend, and I'll put that in context. Here's your weekly time frame. Price action fell off a cliff, nothing to support it. Horizontal levels here, broke them. Looking left, you can see those important ones here, all through that at pace. Get out of my face. No, not everything, just that guy I just drew. Oh. Yeah, so it broke all of these, and then the next level looked to is in around what were our targets. Now, this was previously support, or at least, you were hoping for it. It turned into resistance pretty sharp, and that you would anticipate that being the case still. And it certainly hasn't broken its range on any time frame that was important there. So that's an important point to make. And then I wanted to talk about the OTLY trade. I think I did actually. I finished up with that earlier. That's that take profit. Everybody be sensible. At least I am. It's not financial advice, but as a chief porridge eater, I do want to put across my perspective on things. Talked about Beyond Meat and that comparative move. So now there's this interesting potential on Bed Bath & Beyond. Obviously, I'm not in this for the long-term idea, right? I don't think this is a fantastic stock. I don't like this nature of this gap back down here. Can tell you that it's been in a strong downtrend. Strong downtrend. This support level is not particularly important. It's not going to trump the weekly up here and show you. It's not going to trump these horizontals, right? It's below this important one at 196. It's pushed back above it, 196, $2. It's found support there very, very briefly, and then caught this diagonal. And if it doesn't hold that level, the next area to come down to, break down again, 146, then 70 cents. Well, how much is that? 78 cents. Big dips. So I would be careful to be, if you're entering this thing, to be very aware of what you're doing, trading it. 30-minute time frame. It's all about breaking this level at 196, 197, 198, and open close above it. Fantastic, but I'm not sure if you'll get that luxury with the nature of this move. It's already spiked to the 228 target. This 50% retracement. If it then holds, you see this 382 looking left, which comes in at around where price action is at the minute. If it can manage to hold that and break up, then you're targeting 275. That any more than that is asking for a lot on Bed Bath & Beyond at the minute. But if that helps people who's in this and they're looking at the potential to manage their position, it's not financial advice. It's just one person's perspective, and that holding two would mean targeting 270. That's what I would say. I don't know how much that provides people with, because a lot of people are looking at this and very invested in it long term. That's fine. It's definitely not what I'm thinking. This is the high that you want to be obviously conscious of how price action performs on the way back towards that. And in that sense, you're looking at resistance at 259. That's below the target that I have, but that doesn't suggest that we're going to persist. Price action is going to persist above there. Should it poke its head up, right? Because downward sloping trend, there's lots of different diagonals you can draw on this thing that are all still very, very relevant, right? This guy. So all of that would have to change. You'd have to be well and truly above 259, open and closing daily time frames there, pushing towards $4, and then breaking 417. After that, you could look at this at charge a similar risk profile to what we've got down here, right? Which isn't as good a reward. Although it sounds better to people when they're like, $6, all the way, we could take it all the way from. Well, a sensible trade on this thing would probably be next 420 to 6. This is actually probably a better trade in and of itself. Though again, not financial advice, with the stop loss quite tight and the target there representing was that 7.18 to 1 risk reward, which is sensible enough when you look left and you see open and closes in around these levels. If it were to break down, that probably does come and test 236 at 167 and then test this gap, at which stage I would wait for similar opportunities that I've got up on the minute to take this up again. And that's only for people that are really interested in it. And short-term moves there, way it might work, you want to be getting back way above 315 and whatnot. And that would be what I'd maybe think. I'm not sure exactly what I said yesterday, but 315 and to the top side, you're looking at 4 then as resistance, and above then 6, and then the gaps and targets that we'd be heading for. But in advance of that, there's little bits to look to, and it may well be that there is a little bit of room between where we are now and 277. Obviously up around 315 again, right? That's a target, take profit target on this trade potentially, but you'd have to exceed the prior high from the formation you'd be trying to leave, which would be a tough ask on the first go. So, bear all of that in mind when it comes to making your own trading decisions. Typically, you would put emphasis on the support and resistance yourself, and I've given you some other hints where they might be. So that's another bit of information for the trade. And then on this one, click above and see GameStop 1659, 127, 1.28% on the day. That's not significant. Downward sloping trend, 50 simple error in the 30-minute time frame. Trying to recover it, but not doing a particularly good job. 1 hour, turn off the drawings, make it slightly clearer. This is what we need to break. Should we manage to, then you're looking at a test of around 1880 and the lows on this prior formation. That would be where you would expect to go if you do get a little bit of impetus. 50 simple being a good qualifier for whether or not that's happening. And if we were to take this guy out, say, I suppose you would go from this high before the breakdown. I know lots of drawings are coming on, but stick with it. 236, 1882, right? So first levels look to 1882. Yo, so that's what we're thinking. Boom. Okay, so I think we've managed to get a lot of different things down there. Important points made, things covered. What do I see over here? Nothing there. Thanks very much yesterday though, Bulldog. Appreciate what's down here. What do I see? I see at Tradespotting. Things for me have been really going a lot worse lately, and I feel less scared because before it happened, I had already committed to myself that I would focus more on learning from Rocky and Tradespotting. Good to hear it, Tim Bob. Well, this is the thing, right? Learning, action, talking about how the actual decisions are made. So while it's not financial advice, I'm trying to make it so that it's at least as actionable information to put into your own ideas. And even if you're not taking them, then helping you understand what I think about price action might inform your own impression too. So it's good, good to still be here and know I'm doing a good job for good people. Thanks for being here, Tim Bob. I know I will make it through. There is much doom at slate, yes. Opportunities every day for it. If it is not me to do it, then I must have been the doom. Oh no, don't say that, Tim Bob. My shares almost sold by 1 cent, lol. I took it off the stop loss. You took it off? Oh my goodness. Today? Oh, where is the stop? Down at these lows. This isn't what you're talking about, is it? Today? Where are we talking? 15 minutes. Make it more obvious at least. The low was 16.25, high 16.75. Sheesh. 50 cents. There's that 50 simple on the 15 minute. Howdy, everybody. Good to see Kitties, good to see Apes, good to see everybody. Come on, man, how's it going? Bing bong. So I put on, world's largest stop loss. So we go bankrupt. Thank you, JME and Fucking Rock. Oops. I can prove that, I think. Where are the moderators at? So no moderators in today. There's no moderators here. Shorted Liver King. Jeffrey, good to see you. Have a quick look at if you like. Big gap. 15 minute. You're still under a lot of pressure. 200 period moving average holding at 30 minute, but below the centerline RSI. 1 hour below the 50 simple, which itself is below the 200 period moving average. This peak had a lot of continuation divergence, holding below the moving average. Average range picked up, but then dropped off. 2 hour time frame. Doesn't look particularly fantastic there, my friend. 4 hour. 50 simple is above the 200. That's positive, but it's a downward sloping formation. Downward sloping trend. Bullishly divergent. Boing, boing, boing. Move back up again. And in terms of retracements, this stage you're looking at. If it does manage to keep going, then risk will change again around 23, which is, percentage chunk that's worth looking at. And then significantly again at 26, screamingly loud at 26.90. And at that level there, I'd be, if it even does make it there, which is possible, then I'd be extremely dubious of it going further at that first, especially the first arrival. And so I'd say also it's a downward sloping trend, it's downward sloping. Everything's down about it. Daily, I'm sure it's up today 1%, but it's not fantastic. On the daily time frame here, where were these lows then? This was March. Well, know all about that, don't we? So let's take this guy out. Here's your peak. The 236 was for support for a long period of time within this formation. And then price action now got to it again, trying to get back above this area. 2193 is going to be very tough. There is gaps and whatnot. Let's see where they are when we go back, but it looks a little bit nasty there. Weekly time frame, put it in context. Sure. Right, so it's tested 0 before. 236 matches your golden pocket. Matches like getting above 26 at this stage. It's like really ridiculous suggestion. So you're gonna, if you get there, nearly definitely come back again. And at that stage, but due to the nature of this formation, previous price action on this guy, the fact that you'd be topping out at a prior high and in a downward sloping trend, I mean, you'd be looking for real support. You could easily be talking about 1843 again, get there via 1849. Way, obviously, right? So, 1850 sort of levels, if it doesn't go up, that's probably where it comes back to. 200 period moving average at 17. Breaks below that, I'd look at it moving down $8. Golden pocket retracement here, 86 retracement on this guy. Could be total disaster. And that's definitely the direction, it's got the higher probability than, say, for example, 54. Much more likely you come back and target like around $10. So, that's what I'd see. Back down again, look for that gap there on the early time frame. What's it look like? Didn't even see it. Where were you, buddy? Where were you? There it is. Is that below you then? Oh no, we're back below that yet. Right, so I mean, it's only a 30-minute. I don't even put any emphasis on it. This thing looks like it's struggling, and I wouldn't be jumping into it right now. Trades, but hey, trades, but I'm taking a look at wheat. Quick look at wheat. Well, wheat. This one does what's come up. Big move there. Tiny time frame. 4 hour. Oof, nasty, right? So if it breaks below 7, you've got your levels all marked out pretty clearly for you there. 670, 6, 570, 5. That'll be what happens, right? But this top, that was brutal. That was also brutal. And then you lost support on the next test. Filled the gap. Rejection back below the 50 simple. Not fantastic. Daily. I mean, it's really, 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 really dodgy. Because if it does break below 7, it's had a bounce here, which is like bullishly divergent, fair enough. But this reaction, 50 simple, new lows, ugh, right? Ugh. You lead it. That's only 2 touches too, so you probably do get another touchdown around 7. If that doesn't hold, easy goes to that 670, 660 level. That's what I think off the top of my head. Yo, Donjo, welcome. It's brilliant, awesome. Lord West was at 12. What the frick? That didn't sound like a secret address. So I mean, it does look like a horrible head and shoulders, doesn't it? And if that was to break that level, people might anticipate coming down lower. I wouldn't think that this head and shoulders off the back of this is really exactly where you'd see it, but it works. What we're seeing on this guy, no, doesn't look like head and shoulders. Just looks like a barricade down. So if it does manage to hold, then it'll try up, and the inflection that we've had recently, that move at 940, that's a big percentage, and then after it breaks there, you're looking at 12. If it moves up, you've got your bullish divergence on the lows. The 50 simples provided a rejection once. 2 touches of bullish divergence. A third, maybe you put looking at that, maybe daily time frame, maybe. But 4 hours rolling over there, isn't it? And it's potentially head and shoulders. Don't know if that fits this way, but like I was saying, if it did play out, that'd be brutal. You'd be back down testing $4, easy peasy. So maybe there's a 470 in there too along the way. Thanks, Jimmy. You're welcome, Colonist. That's around a 618 where I was aiming for a potential buy. Cool. Is that the right? Is that we on the same side? Oh, good one. Awesome. Is that the right thing? Did I say that above? Did I read that above? That's the bottom message. Cool. Got it. Tradespotting. Netflix short entry 342. Stop loss 260. Take profit 231. See above chat box there. I've got. Don't do yourself now that we've done this. But look, this chat box had a goal for the donations. Now $8 makes it so that the stream doesn't cost me money, but to add a donation because I'm ambitious. And some people would say that I'm not ambitious. Anywho, we'll see how that goes. So wheat falling down a little bit, and why is it like that? It's a Millionaire making show. Really, it was working too. Darn good. Great to see you, Donjo. Great to see you. And then maybe need some more moderators or something for just they're all in bed. So it is. Oh well, right. So great. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully we get more interest in these things so I can keep doing them. Really would help like your help with that if possible. Thanks very much. Oh, somebody's just been gifted a membership. You lucky person. Welcome. Thanks very much. It's your self-face. Well deserved too. Brilliant. Good to see. Thanks everybody. Hopefully. Thanks Colin. Thanks Don.